Hey guys, welcome to my first top 10 list. This is going to be the top 10 most iconic guitars in rock history from the years 1969 to 1999. Now, I don't mean that the guitars were produced between those years. I mean the musicians who used the guitars were active between 1969 and 1999. And let's remember, this is rock guitar, so there will be no B.B. King, Lucille, Stevie Ray Vaughan, number one. That would be for the blues list. So anyway, I present to you the top 10 most iconic guitars in rock history, part 1. Number 10, Randy Rhoads Sandoval V. Just before being hired as Ozzy's new guitarist, Randy Rhoads was toiling away on the LA scene with Quiet Riot. Fellow LA guitarist George Lynch was playing guitar for the group Exciter, and he and Randy often found themselves sharing the same bill with their respective bands. They became friends, and backstage discussions were focused on and comparing techniques, amps, and of course, guitars. Randy's main guitar at the time was a cream-colored 1972 Gibson Les Paul Custom that he had received as a gift from his fellow bandmates in Quiet Riot during the late 1970s. One evening during a gig, George Lynch appeared backstage with a single pickup V-shaped guitar sporting a Fender-style tremolo. This combination of Gibson aesthetic mixed with Fender technology inspired Randy. George urged Randy to contact local LA luthier Carl Sandoval after seeing Rhoads' excitement. During the meeting with Sandoval, Randy presented his plan for a V-shaped guitar with two Gibson-style humbuckers, a Fender Stratocaster tremolo, bow tie fret markers, a harpoon-shaped headstock, a neck-through design, and a polka dot paint job. The two men ultimately hashed out a final design, and in September of 1979, the Sandoval V was complete. It had a 25.5-inch scale length, a 17-inch radius on the neck, two DiMarzio humbuckers, super distortion in the bridge, and a PAF in the neck position, and was finished in nitrocellulose lacquer. This was just in time for Randy to take the guitar out on the road for his new gig as Ozzy Osbourne's guitarist. In 1980, Ozzy and Randy headed to Europe to begin touring for Blizzard of Oz. The European press snapped scores of pictures of Randy playing the new Sandoval V. The photo circulated the globe, and as music fans all across the world learned about the diminutive but extremely gifted guitar player, the Sandoval Polka Dot V became famous along with Randy Rhoads. Number 9. Andy Summers' 1961 Fender Telecaster. According to Summers' own words in his 2006 memoir, One Train Later, Andy bought the guitar for only $200 while he was slumming it in L.A. studying classical guitar. To pay the rent, he gave private guitar lessons, and apparently one of his students walked in with this banged-up 1961 Tele. After playing it, Andy claims the guitar resonated something special within, and he eventually offered to buy the guitar from the student. There's also an apocryphal story floating around involving Eric Clapton and a Les Paul. Okay, honestly, what famous guitar from the pantheons of rock doesn't involve either Eric Clapton or a mystery Les Paul, or both? The kooky custom electronics and other modifications were, according to legend, already installed in the Tele when Andy obtained it. In the neck position is a Gibson PAF humbucker, and in the bridge position is a standard Tele single coil. However, the coil is mounted directly to the body and not the brass bridge. Speaking of which, the guitar has a custom brass bridge that sports a small crack on the high E side of the bridge pickup and 6 individual soft brass saddles. Mounted on the control plate is a phase toggle switch which essentially reverses the polarity of the pickups. On one side of the control panel is another toggle switch which is an on-off for a custom installed preamp, and on the other side is an extra tone knob control which adjusts the gain on the preamp. Andy used his custom Tele on all 4 studio albums with the Police. It appeared on every hit from Roxanne to Every Breath You Take, and it was his axe of choice for live gigs as well. Number 8. Jerry Cantrell 1984 G&L Rampage Blue Dress. Jerry bought the first 2 of identical 1984 G&L cream Rampages on layaway while working for a Dallas music store. It soon became his main guitar, which he would eventually use extensively for all the Lane Staley era Alice in Chains studio albums and live shows. This rather innocuous instrument has since become one of the most recognizable guitars in modern music, spawning several signature models produced by CANERELL in the USA, South Korea, and Indonesia. Jerry taped an image of a vintage pinup girl painted by French artist Alain Aslan onto the body, and the guitar was eventually dubbed Blue Dress in reference to the model's dress. Jerry replaced the single G&L humbucker pickup with a Seymour Duncan JB. Other than those few alterations, the guitar remains mostly stock, which speaks volumes of the genius behind its makers. The guitar features a Kahler bridge, one single humbucker pickup, one volume control knob, a maple neck with an ebony fretboard. Simple but effective. Months after purchasing Blue Dress, Jerry would return to purchase a second Rampage in the exact same color, now known as No War. These two guitars would play a pivotal role in redefining the musical landscape during the early 1990s. Number 7. Brian May and the Red Special. The number of guitarists that have carefully crafted their own guitar out of wood, steel, and wire are few and far between. In fact, most gearhead guitarists wouldn't be caught dead sporting some generic homemade apparatus at gigs. In 1963, a teenaged Brian May and his father set out to build Brian an electric guitar out of scrap wood, motorcycle parts, and knitting needles, since the family couldn't afford to buy one off the rack. This father and son project produced one of the most iconic guitars in the history of rock. It has become known as the Red Special, and it is both aesthetically and sonically unique. Some of the best examples of its signature tone can be heard on Death on Two Legs, Stone Cold Crazy, Killer Queen, and We Will Rock You. You hear that tone and you know immediately it's Brian May. The wiring was done in a way that each pickup can be turned on or off individually, which meant that all three of them could be on at the same time, or the bridge and neck pickups could be used together. They are wired in series, but each pickup has a phase switch which reverses the wiring. May had a backup copy of the Red Special made by John Birch in 1976. He used it sparingly as he preferred his original creation. Brian can be seen playing the yellow replica in the video to We Will Rock You. According to legend, May smashed the backup in 1982 during a performance. Wait a second. Hold on. Brian May smashing a guitar? Pete Townsend, sure. Kurt Cobain, okay. But Brian May, the most stoic and conservative man I've ever seen on stage? Yeah, I can hear him now. Hey, Freddie, me backup guitar is buggered. Bollocks, this is pure rubbish. Number 6. Adam Jones Silverburst Les Paul Customs. Adam Jones is the most secretive member of the already introverted band Tool. Finding any confirmed information about his gear is not unlike trying to find the Well of Souls with only one half of the headpiece for the staff of Ra. He gives very few interviews, and when he does decide to talk, he gives cryptic and conflicting information in regards to his gear. In order to amuse himself during interviews, he'll often deliberately make ridiculous claims like he keeps his amps in a freezer to preserve their tone, or that the metallic paint in his Silverburst guitars has an effect on the magnetic field of the pickups. And over time, as the metal oxidizes and the finish turns an olive green, the effects on the pickups are also exponentially altered. Okay, Adam. What I can tell you for sure is that he has at least 3, but possibly 5, Silverburst Les Paul Customs that were released from 1979 to 1985. He may or may not have replaced the original pickups with custom pickups that he may or may not have had specially wound. He may have a Seymour Duncan JB and Jazz set of pickups in the bridge and neck respectively. Then again, he may not. Allegedly, the volume and tone pots in the vintage Silverbursts were under the traditional 500K rating. I've read a different value for every Silver Burst owner I could find, but allegedly this too affects the tone. His original and distinguishable tone, coupled with his ability to create some of the coolest riffs in modern rock, have made Adam Jones a household name among many guitarists, despite his best efforts at trying to remain the man hidden behind the curtain. As a result, his guitar has, however, reluctantly become one of the most iconic guitars in modern rock.